guys, welcome back to Relax, It's Just Cat Grooming. In today's episode, episode 10, I'm going to be answering 3 of our most frequently asked questions about grooming cats and how to run a successful business doing it. If you like today's video, make sure to hit the notifications button on the National Cat Groomers page so that you can get notified when we post content and videos just like this. So in today's episode, I'm going to be covering 3 questions, and the questions are: 1, what exactly is a work-cation? If you're in the National Cat Groomers syllabus student group, I talked about this the other day and I wanted to expand on it a little bit more so you can also schedule a work-cation in your business. Number 2, but don't cats hate water? This is a question that we get asked all the time by cat owners, and so I want to make sure that you have exactly what you need in order to answer that question when you have it pop up in your business. And finally, number 3, what are my favorite colognes for using on cats? So let's go ahead and get started. So the first question is, Lynn, what exactly is a work-cation? So a work-cation is a term that I use to describe having a dedicated weekend that is dedicated to working on my business. So that means no grooming, no answering emails, no returning phone calls. I'm working on my business, not in my business. And that way I can kind of knock out a lot of things that have been sitting on the back burner that I've maybe have been neglecting. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do, and I want to give you a couple guidelines, is that you need to find somewhere that you can kind of get away for a little bit. I typically do work-cations a few hours away. My in-laws have a condo in kind of a beachy town, and so my husband and I will go in the off season. And this way we've got a nice quiet place that we can go. We don't have to really leave. We sometimes go out for dinner, but we've got a nice quiet place with a nice view that we can just work on our computers or brainstorm or kind of whatever it is that we're working on. So you need to be away from distractions. It doesn't need to be far away. You don't have to book an extravagant vacation, but it should at least be, 1 to 3 hours away so that you're far enough away that you're not, it's kind of a planned getaway as opposed to, oh yeah, like let's just go across town and go to Starbucks. So it's a little bit more than that, but you're not going so far away that you're wasting a lot of time to travel when you could be doing work on your business. So finally, what are the types of things that you should be working on or you can work on during a work-cation? And really, the sky is unlimited. What I tend to work on is content for my business, so blog articles, or rewriting my email templates, or rearranging pages on my website. You can also do social media posts, or editing videos, or editing photos, creating different infographics, posts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever platforms you decide to use. A work-cation is a great time to batch this content, which means you put a lot of it together at once so that you can pre-schedule my posts. So if I have, say, 1 to 3 months worth of posts scheduled to go out at once, that means I'm not having to sit around on my phone and think, well, what am I going to post today that's going to have an impact on my business and is going to draw new people in? I've already planned that out. I can come up with a strategy for my social media. So that's something that you can do. Another thing is that I tend to look at my marketing campaigns. So each quarter, I look at the marketing that I'm doing for that quarter that has just passed and then what's coming up down the pipeline. This way I can evaluate and audit my marketing to make sure that my dollars are making sense with what I'm doing. So if I've got an ad running, or if I'm putting flyers somewhere, or if I'm supporting something or sponsoring something, I want to take a few minutes or at least part of a day to see if I'm actually getting a good return on investment. So it's a great time to review your marketing campaigns in one place without a lot of distractions. Finally, another thing I tend to do is work on copy. So it's similar to content, and copy is the written words that you're using to sell your business. So this is more than just saying hi or, coming up with quick captions for your photos on Instagram or Facebook. You're actually writing copy because it's designed to sell. So whether it's an email newsletter or, like I mentioned, those email templates is a good thing to kind of get together and write and edit it and check your grammar and check your spelling. This is a great time to do that, is during your work-cation. Now remember, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to do all of those things. You can choose the things that are most important to you and make sure that you have quality time to work on them. So remember, this work-cation is just so you can get away a little bit, away from distractions, and really work on your business, on the business end of your business. So now if you're in the National Cat Groomers member group, so if you're an active member and you're in our member Facebook group, I'm gonna be doing a more in-depth video specifically on my work-cations and exactly what I do, what my rules are, what I work on, what I bring with me. And so keep an eye out because that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. So the second question I want to talk about is, but don't cats hate water? So I get asked this all the time from new cat owners, usually because their cat has never had a bath. And so they say to me, well, I don't know if I want my cat to have a bath but don't cats hate water? And so my cat will be freaked out by a bath. Now here's the thing, is that most likely the cat is not freaked out by water itself. It's being freaked out because it's not being introduced properly to a new experience. Whether it is a new feeling, a new environment, the loud noises involved with turning on the water in your tub, all of those things need to be introduced properly. Just like grooming a puppy or a kitten, you need to go slow, you need to introduce in stages to make sure that the cat is having the best experience possible. I've also found that bathing helps cats at every age. There really isn't a point that I've met a cat that I say, oh, you know what, I don't really think you could benefit from a bath. Every cat that I've ever met anywhere could benefit from a bath. Kittens, even if they are not necessarily disgusting, like they're dirty that they need a bath, bathing kittens is super easy. So why would you waste that opportunity to get them used to bathing? Because what happens is that then down the road when they're an adult or even a senior or a super senior, and now they have really terrible grooming needs, or they're matted, or they're hairballs and they're having surgery, or they've got poop stuck on their butts, or they've got sensitive bellies, and now they've never been groomed before, they've never had a bath, and all of those things make the grooming process 1,000 times worse and 1,000 times more stressful for the first couple visits. So get them started at a young age. But that doesn't mean that you don't need to do it or that you can't do it for cats that are older. There are appropriate ways to introduce them to the bathing process so that bathing is not scary. I have a cat-only grooming salon, and every single cat that comes in my salon gets a bath. Doesn't matter if they're 6 weeks old or if they're 16 years old or if they're older than that or if they're long-haired, if they're short-haired, doesn't matter. Everybody gets a bath as included in their grooming process. And I really don't have a lot of problems with introducing them to the bathing process. So the biggest thing is to go slowly. You can also muffle the sounds as you're introducing them as for the bath and the blow dryer. And overall, the bath is much less stressful on especially an aggressive cat versus shaving and having to pull legs and manipulate their body and move them around. Once you introduce them to the sound, there's nothing scary about the bathing process. In fact, it's warm water, it's scrubbing and massaging. It feels really good for them. So most cats actually really enjoy that process. And then at that point, you're just looking at, well, let me also introduce them to the drying process. And if you've taken the same precautions, going slow, muffling the sounds, introducing everything in stages, it works the same way. So, but don't cats hate water? No, they don't hate water. They hate being introduced to new processes improperly. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about is what colognes do I use in my salon? And I've got a couple favorites I want to share with you. So the first one and main one that I use is a spray called Catatonic. This is a spray that is made by National Cat Groomers, and it's based off of a spray called Bay Rum that is very popular for showing cats. It's got a nice kind of clove, earthy smell. It's very pleasant, and you can spray a good bit onto a cat's coat. It's not going to feel greasy. It's not going to leave anything behind. It's just going to be a nice, light, airy coat with a little bit of shine and a little bit of scent. I do also like the Le Pooch colognes. So this one is the Pooch Puppy 1, and I've got the Noel, which was the Christmas one. I smell it's divine. I do have these, and I use them very, very sparingly. I find that if I spray too much, so with the Catatonic, I can spray as much as I want and everything's fine. However, with the Le Pooch ones, the smell is wonderful, but I only need to use a little tiny bit. If I use too much, then I find it leaves the coat very wet, and I don't want that. The last thing you can do is the Chubb's bars that we recommend for shampoos all come in different scents. Some scents have a very light scent that is left behind, so I tend to use more of the light scents, so the unscented or the creamy nutmeg. This one is the Serene Waters. This is also a really nice just pleasant scent, just pleasant, clean. But some of the other scents leave a heavier scent behind. I would say Guy leaves a heavier scent behind. Some of the more fruity ones like Jungle can sometimes do that. The best thing for you to do is to come join us at a grooming show like Hershey or Atlanta and be able to smell the soaps and smell the different scents of Chubb's bars so that you can see what you might enjoy bathing with in your own salon. So thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Relax, It's Just Cat Grooming. I'll provide you links below on the products that I've mentioned here in the video. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in a comment so I can address them in a future video of Relax, It's Just Cat Grooming. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.